Everyone wants happiness and success, and we know how to get you there. Come listen to the Leadership Society of Arizona as we teach a proven logic to help you simplify life, overcome challenges, and predict the future. You're listening to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. Welcome to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. My name is Chuck Solanas, and I'm joined by our special guest, Dr. Jacob Kashawagi.
Hi, Chuck.
Hey, thank you so much for coming on, and we are excited to have another chat. So the chat that I want to talk to you about is this ChatGPT. Have you heard about it?
I have. In fact, that's a big controversy right now of people being able to use artificial intelligence to do their homework.
Yeah. And have you tried it?
Actually, I have not personally, but many colleagues, as professional colleagues, as well as people in our nonprofit, Leadership Society of Arizona, have tried it to write articles and do things to see how good it is, and it's decent.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed.
Yeah, totally. And it even, I was noticing, I was looking up some of the different uses for the ChatGPT, which the open AI thing, and it said that teachers could use it to grade assignments. So if they have an essay they don't want to read, they'll drop the essay into the chat, say grade this, and it'll give you a grade along with feedback on the essay.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah, it's impressive. And then I've noticed some other uses is making songs, so you can write poetry through it, and it'll often give you like chord progressions for it. Yeah. And then they answer a lot of like really tough research questions. So if you have stuff that you got to research and you're like, I don't know where to find the right answer, there's so many articles out there, and you kind of just pick it and go. And so it just kind of summarizes it. It's like a Cliff Notes. So
that is true. It's very useful.
Totally. So now I think you know the question that's coming, which is with this coming about and other AI technology, what's the threat?
I don't see a threat.
Okay.
For me, it doesn't seem like a threat. It seems like something that is going to be very useful to society. It could be a very big threat for a lot of jobs. And so if you're worried about your job, yes, that not only artificial intelligence, but robots and technology in general. I mean, the world is going to change here drastically in the next 10 years, 20 years. And it's because technology is advancing to a pace where it can replace people. And not only can it replace like manual labor type people and what do they call it? Like, is it blue collar jobs or?
Yep, blue collar jobs.
But it can replace white collar jobs too. It can replace very high level jobs that you normally pay quite a bit of money to someone. And how society is progressing now is, you know, if you really want a job and you want to be paid well, you're going to have to be really, really good at what you do. You're going to have to be better than an artificial intelligence software program or machine that can write essays, grade essays, and work nonstop without even, missing a beat.
Yeah, no, it's definitely true. And that's kind of the worry, right? That's the worry that all these people are going to lose jobs. And I was talking with my wife, and we were just talking about how it's tough to get by anyways. So with people that are like not making much money, then their job's replaced, then it's like, well, how does everyone get by then?
Well, if you're a person who doesn't want to change, then this is a big issue. This is a very big issue for you. If you're in your 30s and you're used to the way it is and you don't want to change it all, you're in for quite the ride in your life. But if you're not worried about change and you see that change is coming, then there's no big issue. I don't think people realize that there are so many jobs available in the world today right now, even with all this artificial intelligence and robots that can do a lot. There are so many jobs available that pay well that aren't being filled. The only thing holding back the economy right now is not that robots and artificial intelligence is taking over the job market. It's that nobody wants to do all of these jobs that are open that are required. And you're talking about all along the scale, from skilled workers to just high school workers. Restaurants cannot find enough employees that just are responsible and will come in when they need to come in. There's a huge labor shortage, and that's one of the reasons why so many fast food restaurants are trying to look into robots to be able to make their food, because they literally can't find enough people to work at the restaurants. And these are like entry-level positions, right? They're just not finding people who, and the minimum wage is higher than it's ever been. But not only that, you start going to hire companies like, software companies that you have to have so many years of skill, and they can't find enough people. Right? You see all these layoffs in these technology companies, but they don't tell you all these other technology companies that are up and coming that need labor.
Right.
So there are tons of jobs out there. There's always going to be tons of jobs out there. In the construction alone, they are in a huge shortage of skilled craftsmen. These are things that robots won't be able to do for years. But nobody wants to do them, right? And part of it is society is all kind of messed up, because society says you got to go through college to be able to get a decent job, but that's not necessarily the case. In fact, a lot of times college, when you look at the cost comparison, is not worth it for many people. Right. But because we've been trying to push everyone to college instead of going into skilled labor, there's a lot of jobs that are open that society needs right now. So if you're asking me, is this an issue that society is not going to have enough jobs for people? No, it's not. We're not in trouble there. But if you're asking me, is this going to cause issues because people have to change and adjust their thinking on what they're going to do for work and whatnot, then yes. If you don't want change, then yes, you got a very big issue on your hands.
Got it. Okay. Well, what are some things that people can do to start changing now, given that we see that these changes are coming?
There's a couple of things. Is one, get educated. A lot of people listening might not even have heard of ChatGPT, but it's important that they do. And it's important that they understand what it can do. It's important that they understand the robot market. A lot of people might not know, but a lot of these coffee makers, especially I believe it's Starbucks, they're now creating these robots that can create all the coffees. So they no longer need actually an employee working. They just need someone to actually go and replace everything and maintain. So one of the things you can do if you're looking ahead is actually go figure out what's coming down the pipeline. What are companies doing to automate things and to use technology? And then you'll start to learn. You'll start to learn, oh, this is what's going to be required in the future. And originally, this is what people did anyways. When people would go into the market, they'd look, well, how many of these jobs are open and what do they get paid? And this is what people should be doing, right? Because jobs have changed over and over again throughout all, the history of man. jobs have never stayed the same, and the roles of people have never stayed the same. And so it's always important for you to stay up on that. So that's the first thing you should do. The second thing you should do is you should ask yourself, how am I going to add value in society? Right? After you know what's coming down the pipeline and what jobs are being automated, what society kind of needs, you got to ask yourself, well, how are you going to add value? In the future, there's only so many things that's going to add value to society, right? Technology, they can make songs, they can write papers, they can do all this, but can they do it really, really well? Right? When you look at technology writing music, yeah, technology writes music, but the best music producer and maker, the technology cannot replicate yet. So in the future, you got to ask yourself, what am I really going to do well? What value am I going to add? And it could be even something that technology does, but it just can't do really, really well right now.
Yeah.
Or it could be something that technology can't do at all right now. Well, technology is not at the point where it can totally replace, I don't know, a lot of different types of jobs, whether it's being a farmer, right? Or whatnot. They got machines, they got a lot of technology, but they can't be replaced all the way. There's a lot of things that they still need. And there's a lot of things that technology can replace, but actually it's more expensive than just having a human being do it.
Right.
So to ask yourself, where am I going to add value, and where am I going to support society and what it needs, and I can do it better, or I can do it more efficient than technology can right now. That's the second thing you need to be doing. And the third thing you need to be doing is just telling yourself, the biggest thing that technology cannot replicate right now is somebody who can look and adjust to things very quickly without being told what to do. And it's what I call a leader. So no matter what type of job you have, you're going to have to be a leader in that job. Because technology, the issue is it has to be programmed. It has to be told what to do. And in the future, the only jobs that will be open are people and jobs that don't need to be told what to do. That they know what needs to be done without anyone telling them, because they have some type of understanding and an overall vision of life. And so, that's the big downfall of technology right now. Now, eventually that might be replaced and technology might be able to replicate it, but it's going to be a very, very long time. And so, everyone needs to be developing that skill. It's one of the big emphasis that I put, that education doesn't hit on at all, and it should be at the core of everyone's education, is the ability to go into a situation that you have no clue what's going on, and you having the ability to know exactly what to do without being told. And those are three things that I would say, if you want to prepare for the future in this technology, those are three things you should be doing right now.
Okay. So it's like elasticity, right? Being able to be flexible, move.
Yeah.
In terms of that last point, you say being able to go into any situation, know exactly what to do and what's going on. What is the place where people can learn a little bit more about that, or what do they need to do in order to gain that skill?
You can learn the skill wherever you're at without anybody being there, because in fact, the less people around you telling you what to do, the better, because then you have to figure out what to do on your own.
Right.
Right now, I don't know very many places that actually help people with this. Personally, I believe if you know someone who's really successful, that all successful people understand how to do this, and they can mentor someone to help them to figure it out as well. But it's very hard to find an actual education curriculum that actually teaches this. this is one of the reasons why we're trying to create a school this year, is so that we can start from 6th grade helping students, instead of continually being told what to do, how to do it, when to do it, how much of it to do, what's important, what's not important by a teacher, and just like going through their whole education career just being told what to do, cultivating their mind to be a follower and someone who needs to be told what to do when they get out in the workplace. We're hoping by creating our own school and changing this paradigm, so students start to figure out, okay, 6th grade, you got to learn. How do you figure out what to learn? How do you figure out how to set a plan for your learning? How do you know who to ask to be able to help you in your learning? We're hoping that we can create a school that starts developing the skill in the youth at an early age. So by the time they get to the workforce, they don't have to go into a job and say, okay, what's my job? Tell me what I need to do. They can go into any company, look around and say, I know exactly how I'm going to add value. I don't need anyone telling me what to do. I can see what needs to be done. I'm just going to go do it. And that's what we're hoping.
Okay. Very cool. So basically find someone that's already doing this and ask for their mentorship is basically the answer.
That's the best thing you can do, unless you live in our area or can get into one of the LSA's programs. No one else is going to really teach you how to do it. You just got to find someone who knows and who can give you hints on it and help guide you through it.
Definitely. Okay. And then the last thing that I don't think you touched on is just being having some personal finance knowledge is good. So a lot of people I find are overspending. So for what they make, they tend to spend half of their income or more just on rent, and then their food covers everything else, and so they can't save anything and can't get out of whatever situation that they're in. So maybe some knowledge of personal finances, understanding that maybe it would be better to save a little more, live in less of a high-end place, but be able to stick it out, so that way they can save up for something that's a little better off, and that way they can feel a little more breathing room.
That's always a good thing to have.
Yeah.
The ability to understand wealth and money and how to save and how to watch it and track it. I would agree with that.
Okay. Well, great. I appreciate the advice on this. I'm glad that we have nothing to really worry about if we're willing to change. So thank you, listeners, for listening, and viewers for watching. Have a great rest of your day.